Wednesday, so we're joined by Baggedmilk at this time, and just conveniently, we have a game to talk about. What do you even say about last night's game? Like, good Lord.
Leon Draisaitl, if I'm the Nashville Predators, I might consider putting Leon Draisaitl's face on the front of their jerseys because he just owns them at every turn. The stats that he's putting up against this team are completely ridiculous, and there's not one thing they can do to stop it. He has 18 goals and 25 points in his last 9 games against the Predators. That is domination to the highest level.
Yeah, he loves playing against them for some reason.
Is there anything that even remotely compares to that in the history of the game?
Probably if you go back to the 80s, I imagine this kind of thing happened all the time. But like these days, no. And just I don't even know what it is, because if you remember, for a long time, the Nashville Predators would steal the Oilers' lunch money. They won like 12, 13 games in a row, and then things just turned, and the boys haven't looked back. Even when they gave up that goal 34 seconds into the game last night, I was just kind of like, I live bet the comeback because I knew something special was going to happen, and then Leon just kind of took over again. And if it's not Leon, then it's Connor. Mm-hmm. You know, they had no answer for anybody last night.
They dominated. They owned them. It's fun to watch because I'm obviously an Oilers fan, but that has to be one of the better games they've played in the last couple of years. From a complete game perspective, they controlled that game from beginning to end.
That was about as full of a 60-minute effort as you could get from the Oilers, and it was really nice to see. And it's been especially nice to see. When we were first doing these segments at the early part of the season, the Oilers looked really, they looked rusty. They couldn't connect on passes. They couldn't connect on their outlet passes. They couldn't connect on their breakouts. Yeah. Now they're just rolling, and they've got 5 in a row. They're finding different ways to win. They're not always pretty, but like you said, Locke, last night was just a masterpiece.
Dominated.
Is there a bit of a goaltending controversy brewing in Edmonton? Is that a thing?
I don't see a goaltending controversy. It's like, you want Jack Campbell to be stopping more pucks than he did last night, but ultimately he's won 4 of his last 5 starts. He's getting the results we want. His personal stats aside, probably need to be better. Of course they need to be better, but controversy, no. I think that Woodcroft's going to roll them both. I would be very surprised if tomorrow against New Jersey that Stuart Skinner doesn't get the start and just kind of flip-flops back and forth. We've had that for the last 3 years with Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen. The difference this year is that both guys are actually winning. Obviously, Stuart Skinner is stopping more pucks. His stats are unbelievable. He's second place in the NHL in save percentage right now, but I don't see a goaltending controversy. I just think that that's something we all like to talk about. Mm-hmm. But maybe if Campbell was losing those games that he wasn't playing so great in, we would have a different conversation right now, Grant. But he's still winning. So I'm not too concerned about it yet because he's getting the job done.
I think they found their game more so than there's been any sort of significant change in goaltending for this franchise. I think the team has found their game. They're showing confidence when they step out on the ice. They know they can dominate. There's now, I'd say, instead of 2 lines of speed, there's 4 lines that are flying. Like all 4 lines. Every time you see somebody step over the boards in an Edmonton Oilers jersey, you know there's going to be speed there. And if Ken can be accredited for anything with his time here, I mean, everybody highlights the Kane thing, but I think it's building a team that's fast.
Well, look at the 4th line goal that Derek Ryan scored last night. Yeah. They Harlem Globetrottered the Nashville Predators. They look like the Washington Generals. They were just standing around Derek Ryan with a beautiful goal. Tyson Barrie with a little dipsy and a doodle. Like, all 4 lines are rolling. And Woodcroft made that change against Pittsburgh when McDavid hit the post and we were all freaking out a little bit. He swapped the lines up. And since he's been consistently rolling with those. There was a graphic that came out the other day even that Connor and Leon are just not playing together at 5-on-5 anymore. There was less than 2 minutes over the course of the last handful of games. So they're spreading it out. And I like the 3rd line. You know what? I just like all 4 lines right now because they're playing really well. They're gelling and they're contributing. It's not like, how many years have we had the Oilers where the 4th line, you just needed them to survive? Just don't get scored on. That's all your job is. But now they're contributing and they're holding their own, and it's really nice to see.
Or you saw them shuffling lines because they were trying to get some one line going, right? And that's just not happening. 100%. That's not happening this year. There's no one's trying to throw a wrench into the whole system. Did you see that play? Because I don't think it got talked enough about last night. Connor carried the puck into the Preds zone and then just sort of hung. The defenseman was hanging on him, and then he just, with one hand, left the puck, and then did a little doopsie doodle around him, and then went and got the puck again. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I didn't see that.
I didn't particularly see it, but the fun part about that, Lock, is that Connor does so many weird things with the puck that nobody else is doing. You just kind of forget all
those things happen nightly.
It was one hand. He couldn't beat him because the guy was basically draped on him. The defenseman was hanging off of him, so he just left the puck behind him and then just did a spin move and came back and went at, and I think he got a shot on net from it as well. Just stupid. Speaking of stupid, I looked at the numbers yesterday, and I was actually contemplating going on the air and talking about it. And then I'm like, don't do it. You're just going to jinx the kid. But we'll leave it at this. Do the math on your own because I don't want to talk about it. But just go look at what Draisaitl and McDavid are doing right now, and then do the math on the projection of what their points will be if they maintain. I mean, obviously, they're not going to maintain. Obviously, they're going to have a couple of nights where a team figures out how to play against them and shuts them down, both of them. But if, let's just say it, if this is a trend, check out the numbers.
Yeah.
Or if you don't even want to do any math, Lock, I got an easy one for you. How's this? Connor McDavid has more goals, he's got 11 this year, than any Flames player has points. That's all the math I need.
That's crazy.
I like the Flames reference too.
Yeah. Well, you got to take a shot at them. I was at the Crumble Dome on Saturday.
Can we do that with the Leafs? Can we do that with the Leafs?
Do it with Matthews.
The Leafs are in a free fall disaster right now. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, it's so good to see.
What do you think happens?
You hate to see it.
What do you What do you think happens first in Toronto? Do you think Dubas or Keefe get it?
Keefe's going to get it.
You think
Keefe's going to get it for sure. If they need to turn it around in a hurry here, or that in that market, there's so much pressure on these guys to perform, and there's so much pressure on them to actually get past the first round that if they don't turn it around in a hurry, he is going to be the first coach fired, and that is stunning to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even though their record isn't horrible, they're floating around 500. It's not like they're terrible, but at the same point, when you've got expectations,
but expectations are
they're the
high.
Canadian team with the best chance of winning the Stanley Cup, Baggedmilk.
Well, according to who? According to
Toronto Sports Media. Yeah.
Hey, if you ask me, there's this blogger locally. His name's Baggedmilk. He's the most likely to marry Miranda Kerr if she leaves the Snapchat guy. But that's just a rumor I heard.
What I'm disappointed about with the Leafs' performance this year is if they keep going the way they're going, they're not going to make the playoffs. And I really, really want them to make the playoffs and then lose in the first round in Game 7 again.
It's tradition.
Don't let us
it's like
down.
Christmas, you look forward to it every year.
Once a year.
Always a pleasure, my friend. That's Baggedmilk from Oilers Nation.
The Locker Room for Always Plumbing and Heating. Weekday mornings on 95.7 Cruise FM.